the sector rises to its full potential and contributes its expected quota to national development. We leave a quest to provide some timely education as well. From the legislature, Senate passes appropriation bill for second reading as House of Representatives commences debate on the 2022 budget. As the November 6th Anambra State governorship election draws even closer, the Nigeria Police gears up to provide adequate security during the exercise. The good in food measures in scarcity or boom as World Food Day is being celebrated. Plus, phone addiction, a progressive habit or an albatross of productivity. We have a report. We also have specials on climate change and energy transition and the sheer lawlessness of commercial drivers that often lead to carnage on our Nigerian roads. These and more on our eclectic package today. As you well know, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Mabuba, and this is News Extra. I welcome you all. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has made a strong case for Igbo to resist any attempt at drafting the Southeast region on a collision course with federal authorities under the guise of agitating for self-determination. Addressing journalists after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, the governor maintains that Igbos are better off in a united and prosperous Nigeria, which the Buhari presidency is determined to achieve. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Governor Hope Uzodinma was in the State House to formally thank President Muhammadu Buhari for his recent visit to the state, during which legacy projects were inaugurated and interactive engagement held with the Southeast leaders, which he described as highly enriching.
After the visit of Mr. President and his engagement with leaders from Southeast, a lot of things were exposed. The interventions of federal government in the Southeast, the progress report of the second Niger Bridge, the progress report of Port Harcourt to Enugu Road, the progress report of Onitsha to Enugu Road, the progress report of Owerri to Aba Road. These projects are currently within various completion stages ranging from 80% to 90%, which means that the budgetary provisions are being cash-backed. Very good intention of federal government. So the people have discovered the genuineness of the president and his policies vis-a-vis as it concerns the Igbos, and have seen that it is only through national politics, which some of us have been serious advocates of, that the Southeast will rapidly develop.
The governor, who briefed the Nigerian leader on the security situation in the Eastern Heartland, said normalcy has been restored and people going about their legitimate businesses. He, however, expressed concern that a lot of Igbos have died in the name of political agitation, describing it as unfortunate and condemnable.
Why will you kill your brother to get independence? If you get independence, who will you rule? So it makes no sense. People coming out on the street and killing their relatives under the guise of, I want Biafra or I want that. Odumegwu Ojukwu wanted Biafra through confrontation to federal government, and he was not able to achieve it. 50-something years after, how do you think that that thing that didn't work will now work in a digital age? So it doesn't make sense to any reasonable mind and should not be supported by any reasonable mind.
Governor Hope Uzodinma, who is the chairman, APC Presidential Campaign Council for Anambra governorship election, is optimistic of victory for the governing party.
By the grace of God, the way we are going, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody in Anambra declares for APC before the election, including the governor.
He appreciated President Buhari for his unshakable resolve for peaceful, free, fair, and credible election. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Nkem Okeke, of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Abuja, have defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The chair Man Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of APC and Governor of Yobe State, Malabuni, has already presented Dr. Okeke to President Muhammadu Buhari. Again, State House correspondent Adam Sambo has that.
Deputy Governor Inkem Okeke's defection to the APC is coming less than 1 month to the forthcoming Anambra governorship election. For him, meeting President Muhammadu Buhari at this time, and perhaps for the first time, is a matter of honor and privilege.
I've been a deputy governor of Anambra State for the last 7.5 years. I don't think I've contributed positively the way I would love to contribute to society development. And I believe that I have a lot more to contribute to society. I know what I bring to the party is credibility, Mr. President, and I would love to be a member of your team.
The chairman, caretaker, and extraordinary convention planning committee of the APC, Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State, described President Buhari's selflessness in service and commitment to Nigeria as a major attraction to the APC fold.
We are here also to thank you most sincerely for the leadership you've been providing for the country and for the party. The Deputy Governor and his teaming supporters across Anambra State have joined us.
The Southeasterners have been able to see truly who you are. And our people believe that your policies that is meant to integrate and unite Nigeria will be a strong legacy you leave behind. The Deputy Governor of Anambra State has just joined. I'm also aware that if the governor has his way, he will join. We will also try to extend hands of friendship to him.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who formally welcomed Dr. Okeke into the APC, expressed delight that more and more Nigerians now fully understand that his administration means well for Nigeria and irrevocably committed to its greatness.
So you are welcome.
Thank you.
And I respect your courage because it takes a lot of courage for you to come out, bring along your supporters, and explain to the rest of people that this is the best direction for your geopolitical zone, this is the best position for you. I respect your courage and I congratulate you and I welcome you to the party.
The Anambra governorship election comes up on the 6th of next month. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And Edo State government has resolved to key into the National Livestock Transformation Plan as a critical pathway towards ending Nigeria's farmer header crisis. Governor Godwin Obaseki, who disclosed this at a media briefing after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, said for his state, anti-grazing law is not an option.
We want to ensure that whatever laws we pass are laws that we can enforce. We've had extensive consultations with our people, extensive town hall meetings to deal with the issue that, yes, we do not want open grazing. It is outmoded, it's outdated. However, what are the options? If we are asking that we should now have ranches and these cattle should now be constrained to specific areas, then who provides the land? My people say that as far as they're concerned, ranching is a private business, and therefore, just like every other agricultural venture, those involved should provide their land. As you already know, it is expensive, it is not cheap to run and manage ranches. So what I came to discuss with the president was that since the people of Edo would rather invest privately, those who are interested want to make it a private concern, then the National Livestock Transformation Program, which is now being implemented by the federal government, should acknowledge our model and should also be able to help Edo people benefit from the funding that is now being made available for people who want to go into the livestock business and make investments in ranches and other similar livestock programs.
Governor Obaseki formally appreciated President Buhari for supporting his administration's effort at returning Edo artifacts across the world.
These works, these artifacts, are coming from other sovereign countries, and the laws of Nigeria stipulate that the federal government has the exclusive rights to deal with artifacts and monuments, and to pledge to the President that the Edo State government and Edo people will continue to support the federal government's efforts. We'll do all that is within our powers to make sure that these works are brought back to Nigeria, and also for them to be domiciled where they were taken from, which is Benin City.
State House correspondent Adam Osambo reports that Governor used the opportunity to make a case for the refund of monies being owed Edo State government by some federal government agencies. After 2 days of debate on the general principles of the 2020 Appropriations Bill, the Senate has passed it for second reading. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports that the legislators emphasized on the expansion of railway lines across the state, improved revenue generation, and adequate remittances into government coffers.
The second-day debate witnessed more observations, expansion of rail lines, creation of more employment opportunities with the proposed loans, and improved legislative oversight on budgets by the National Assembly were some of the recommendations from senators.
Movements of goods and services along the corridors of our transportation nodes are very key to economic sustainability. Most of our committees, honestly, are not being very effective in their role of oversighting MDAs. I want to appeal to this Senate that we should look at the health sector and provide more funds for the health sector.
Go into as much of mechanized agriculture as possible and give all forms of incentives to those who are willing to go into that area.
But when the railway lines take all our goods, the roads will be light and they will last long.
The legislators were convinced that the early presentation of the budget by Mr. President will ensure early passage and subsequently bring about improved implementation. But they were concerned with the need for improved revenue generation, especially by strengthening checks on tax evasion, review waivers, and more allocation to the solid mineral sector.
A lot of people that are supposed to be paying their taxes, they don't. And you expect the government to handle everything.
The budget being sent or being passed or being given to NDLA, as I look at it, is inadequate.
A PPP model and concessioning so that we can reduce borrowing.
To our roads in northern part of the country, take a look at the road project there. The ratio of the road project is very low.
There's need for us to be very vigilant and oversight very closely to ensure that the taking off is successful.
The Climate Change Bill, which seeks to mainstream all climate change actions, sponsored by Representative Samuel Onibo, received concurrence in the Senate. Senate has confirmed the nomination of Amechi Nwaha as Commissioner representing the Southeast in the National Assembly Service Commission. Senate paid tribute to late Akuka of Wukari, Dr. Shekarau Agiu Masa, as moved by Senator Emmanuel Buacha. And now that the Senate has passed the 2022 appropriation bill for second reading, it has now adjourned plenary to 9th of November 2021 to enable ministries, departments, and agencies of government appear before its relevant committees to defend their proposals. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
Sustaining the trajectory of infrastructural development, improving revenue generation and power supply, among others, took center stage as the House of Representatives commences debate on the 2022 budget proposal. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
House Leader Alhassan Adodogwa highlighting the merits of the 16.39 trillion naira proposed budget for 2022. Allocations, he said, will enable government to deliver on its promises in critical areas of need such as defense, healthcare, education, power, and other economic drivers.
The issue of agriculture, which is one of the major and key cardinal principles of this administration, Mr. Speaker,
has also taken chunks of these resources to be invested in the 2022 appropriation bill.
This is a budget that is responsible and responsive to the yearnings and concerns of gender and the vulnerable group in our society. We are ready to help Nigerian people to move forward.
Contributions from other House members were appreciative of the efforts of President Buhari in scaling up budgetary performance.
It is in this country now that we are seeing that at least budgets are being implemented 100%.
That provision in the budget that is commendable is a statutory transfer to the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure.
Some House members offered suggestions on how to tackle fiscal challenges.
The oil sector should also be optimized for improved revenue so that we can reduce our deficit and borrowing.
We should further a response to what the agencies generate, also look back and see what they contribute to the federation account.
We need additional of 500 billion naira in order to see some massive development in our road infrastructures.
Debate on the budget continues Thursday. Meanwhile, 5 bills have been passed, including a bill to establish Agricultural Development Fund, while 12 bills passed first reading from the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
There are high expectations in improving federal government's social investment programs in 2022, with a proposed budget of 800 billion naira for the schemes. Ruth Aguela reports on the budgetary allocation for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for next year.
When the National Social Investment Programs, NSIP, was created in 2016, it was expected to be the game changer. In the past 2 years, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has coordinated the various programs, namely Empower, Conditional Cash Transfer, Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program (GEEP), and the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. In the year 2020, the sum of 374.4 billion naira was allocated for the NSIP. 410 billion naira was allocated in 2021 for the program, with beneficiaries from across the country attesting to the gains.
What they do for us now, I feel better well.
They give God the honor for this government this time around.
I enjoyed the food.
In the proposed 2022 appropriation bill, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs was allocated 496.840 billion naira, while 400 billion naira is being proposed for the NSIP. A breakdown shows Empower is allocated 198.424 billion naira, 158.566 billion naira for the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, while for the Conditional Cash Transfer, 8.605 billion naira is appropriated. For the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program (GEEP), 29.291 billion naira is to be expended.
Now we have consolidated, we have learned how to implement properly. Nigerians have felt the impact. We are now going to look at further sources of resources.
Consolidating on the gains of 2021, it is expected that with effective coordination, consistency, and improved strategies, the set goal of improving the lives of Nigerians will be achieved. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Development in the transportation sector in Nigeria has moved from one level of glory to another, going by our popular parlance. This sector is set for another massive transformation, with the allocation of more than 205 billion naira in the 2022 budget. Wainaya Kaluoka tells us more.
Addressing the huge rail infrastructural deficit in Nigeria in the last 30 years has been of top priority to this administration in the last 6 years. Investments in the rail sector, such as the Abuja Light Rail, the Abuja-Kaduna Lagos to Ibadan, and its Agbewori Standard Gauge, have made great impacts in the economy.
It is not only important, it is strategic, it is also ambitious. It is such an appropriate choice to invest massively on railways.
in the year 2022, with an allocation of more than 205 billion naira to the sector. More rail and maritime projects are expected to be completed.
It is the stated goal of President Muhammadu Buhari to link all the state capitals with railway. By doing that, you establish an efficient means of exchanging goods and services across the country. Apart from that, it opens up the possibility of exporting a lot of natural resources.
With intensified efforts of the federal government in repositioning the transportation sector, it was included as one of the beneficiaries of about 1.451 trillion naira critical sectorial allocations in the year 2022 budgets. 71.67 billion naira for counterpart funding was allocated to 6 ongoing railway projects across the country. More than 4 billion naira was for rehabilitation of various railway tracks.
One cannot take away the truth from this administration and what it has brought on the table in terms of infrastructure development. Specifically looking at the rails, the development has been quite huge and thunderous. And I think by the time, I hope this administration, finishes up and finishes up well, we will now sit down and calculate in terms of mileage covered in the development of infrastructure. You will find out that we can end up giving them some good mark.
With these huge transportation infrastructure investments across the country sustained, experts believe that very soon it will trigger economic progress. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
Thank you, Ina. Now from transportation, let's talk education. As Nigeria strives to develop and provide for its teeming population, it is also making headway in education. Thanks to strengthening efforts by the federal government, a lot has been injected into the system to overhaul it in past years. Rashidat Olagunju in this report highlights some strides made to upskill the sector.
Mindful of the role of basic education as bedrock and foundation of quality education, the present administration in the last 6 years has ingested billions of naira in the sector and also introduced initiatives to ensure that Nigerian children of school age are in school and receive quality education. For instance, the takeoff of the Better Education Service Delivery for All BESDA in 17 pilot states has helped in drastically reducing the number of out-of-school children. Another initiative designed to ensure that adolescent girls who are out of school or have never been in school are trained and financially empowered.
Going forward and with the determination of the President, particularly after the GPE meeting in London, we are very certain that a brighter future awaits the basic education sector.
The National Senior Secondary School Education Commission was also established to regulate senior secondary school education in the country.
We are hoping that basic skills, at least a child must go with a basic skill.
On teacher quality and motivation, the present administration has taken measures to motivate teachers by the approval of allowances for teachers in hard-to-reach areas, timely promotion to eliminate stagnation, and prompt payment of salaries, and the review of retirement age of teachers from 60 to 65 years, while years of service have now been moved from 35 to 40 years.
As of today, the Nigerian teacher is one of the most coveted around the world.
Intervention fund through TED Fund has also been approved for the completion of the National Library and enable all public tertiary education institutions to develop ICT infrastructure and support migration to e-learning, while ICT support intervention has recorded the successful completion of 11 websites, upgrade of projects, and training of thousands of staff in tertiary institutions nationwide. The administration also approved the establishment of 6 new federal colleges of education, 8 federal polytechnics, 2 new universities of technology, and upgraded 4 existing universities of technology, 2 specialized universities for health, nutrition, and medical science in Hazare, Bauchi State, and Ilaorogun, Osun State. Similarly, the sum of 5 billion naira has been approved for the takeoff of 2 new universities of technology and upgrade of the existing 4 universities. To build on this, a total of 1.29 trillion naira has been proposed for the education sector in the 2022 budget. That is 7.9% of the total proposed budget. Key players in the sector are however called on the National Assembly to consider and endorse the proposed amount to scale up development in the sector and enable it attain desired level. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
Thank you, Rashidat. And to talk more on the strides in the education sector, we have Dr. Hussaini Mohammed. He's an educationist and financial expert. He's also the second Vice President, Association of Capital Market Academics of Nigeria. It's good to have you in News Extra. Doctor.
Should I come?
Yes.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me. Okay. Good evening, viewers.
So, education, we all know, is one of the prioritized sectors in the proposed budget. What's your take on this and giving previous year's allocation to the sector?
Well, I think first and foremost, let's commend the federal government by, an increase of almost, I think, 270 based on the last year, because this year we have 876 billion. 876 billion as opposed to 608 billion last year, which is about 270 billion difference. So we commend the federal government by doing that. But as we all know, like Olagunju had just said, education is the most critical issue, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. If you compare the figures we have versus figures of other countries, in spite of their size, you find that we are a little bit on the low side. However, we still commend the federal government by giving 208 billion over and above last year. But again, we are working on the basis of benchmark. That's what we call benchmark. UNESCO has about 15 to 20% benchmark that should supposed to have been given to education sector. Now, in the last 10 to 15 years, Nigeria has never reached more than 11%. In fact, I have a figure here for almost about eight years. In 2015, that was when we got the highest 10.7 on that budget. 2016, we have 7.9. 2017, 7.1. 2018 is 7.14, and 2019, 7.12. So if you look at it gradually, you find that the allocation to education sector, in spite of the large amount, is becoming lower and lower. And if you look at it, say 2015, what is the value of naira compared to a dollar?
Okay.
In 2015, you have about 250 to 300. 2016, 320 to 370. 2017, $340 to 360.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. So right now, you have about $520 per distance. So in spite of the huge amount given by the federal government, by the time you transpose this figure is still low compared to other districts. Let me give
but doctor, I know we have a whole lot to talk about. It's a very, very important, discussion. So, but what do you think can be done to see that the National Assembly assent, or better still, increase the figure, noting the needs in the sector?
It depends on what we have, because you cannot give what you don't have, right? Assuming, luckily now, we don't know how long this will be, the value of our oil is getting higher and higher. I think it's about $85 now per barrel. So if this continue for the next 2 to 3 months, I think we may have additional figure given to education, because the level of education today honestly needs to be looked at.
If this budget is approved now, what areas of the sector do you think should be focused on? Since you said a lot should be done in the sector.
In fact, virtually all the area. Let's look at infrastructure. By the time you go to virtually all the universities today, in fact, if you take the 5 major universities that we have initially, ABU, IFE, Ibadan, Nsukka, BUK, and other places today, even the 876 billion naira, these 5-6 universities can consume that. By the time you go to maybe the libraries today of each of these 5 universities today, you find that, the library, they're just there in a name. They're not there. So we need massive investment into the area of infrastructure. And then, of course, you have to improve the conditions of the teachers today to get quality students, because we are getting to a level today, even the quality of that students today becomes a little bit, there's virtually no difference today between a first-class student and a third-class student. By the time they come out, you find that there's just nothing there. So we need to improve the quality of the education, the infrastructure, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you, there are 3 countries here, namely, you have Rwanda, you have South Africa, you have Ghana here. They have almost, not there, but they are almost reaching to that point of that threshold of 15 to 20% given to that budget. For United Nations, in fact, they are saying 26% of the budget must be allocated to education sector. So we are far, we are improving, but definitely we are far behind. And this is the problem that federal government will need to look at. In fact, we need to declare almost war on education to get it moved.
To get it
because
right.
we're concerned. I teach in the university too,
Okay.
all right? And we know the quality of the students coming out today. So something needed to be done, and done happily. I will believe today that the amount given to education today becomes first, because if you look at the budget today of almost 16.39, all right, defense is having the first, right, followed by education, and that's good. But I will believe maybe by next year, education should take the priority number 1.
So we all know that.
Hold on. If you can fix education today, you can fix anything.
Yeah.
Governance, you can fix. The eluded leadership issues, you can fix.
Okay.
Infrastructure, you can fix. Virtually anything, technology, you can fix. So education should take number 1.
Okay.
Not number
Thank
2.
you so much, Dr. Hussein Mohammed. You just spoke with so much passion, and that's a good one. Well, Dr. Husseini, thank you so much for coming on News Extra.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
He is an educationist and also a financial expert. Also the second Vice President, Association of Capital Market Academics of Nigeria. Ahead of the Saturday, October 16, All Progressives Congress States Congresses, the party's caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee has charged members of the committees to allow the party faithful elect their leaders freely without manipulation at the state level. This was while inaugurating the states Congresses committees for 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Salih Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
The state congresses are expected to hold nationwide except in Anambra and Zamfara states. These congresses are believed to be the critical junction that will prove the party's readiness for its national convention. As the party begins to recalibrate for better performance in future elections, it has promised to strengthen its leadership structures using the forthcoming state congresses to ensure that credible members of the progressive family are entrusted with leadership positions.
The Senate okayed the direct mode of primaries for nomination of candidates. Party members can now appreciate the wisdom of the leader of our party, President Muhammad Buhari, when he pushed that the party be taken back to the grassroots.
You know that the House of Representatives will concur with what the Senate have said. So by that, the party has been given back to to the grassroots.
And that will be easy for us to reposition the party for 2023.
Our activities will be according to the party constitution.
But we are going to do our best to ensure that the party wins in all the elections.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has reaffirmed its commitment and support for constitutional innovations that will improve the transparency and credibility of Nigeria's electioneering processes and internal democracy, specifically the nomination of political party candidates. The secretary of the party's caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, John James Akpa-Odoedehe, said this is against the backdrop of Tuesday's Senate amendment to the Electoral Act, which will ultimately be forwarded to the president for consideration. The APC said, in line with its progressive mantra, the credibility of elections has continued to improve under Buhari's administration as valid votes now count. The secretary, John James Akpa-Odoedehe, added that at party level, the Governor Malabuni-led APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee has entrenched internal democracy in the nomination processes as recorded in the recent wards and local government congresses conducted nationwide by the party. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Ahead of the forthcoming APC nationwide state congresses, stalwarts of the party from Kano State have appealed to the caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee of the party to fast-track negotiations to unite members of the APC in Kano State. Addressing journalists at the end of a closed-door meeting with the chairman, APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, Governor Malabuni, leader of the group and former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekaro, said discussions were basically on how to promote and sustain political stability amongst party faithful in Kano State in view of reactions received after the recently conducted wards and local government congresses.
APC, and we are very concerned with the progress, growth and development of APC at all levels. What we have done is to come in a very civilized manner to bring to the attention of the national leadership of the party to address the disquiet in the party within the state.
Among the stakeholders are some 7 National Assembly members. Quote, democracy has come to stay, and I must commend the present administration for not shortchanging opposition. End of quote. These are the words of the chairman of the venue committee for the People's Democratic Party 2021 National Convention and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed. Timothy Yusuf has that.
2 different venues are to be used for the People's Democratic Party's National Convention, scheduled for October 30 and 31. Approval for the use of the venues, the Old Parade Ground for accreditation, and the Eagle Square for the convention proper has already been granted the PDP, and this gesture, Governor Bala Mohammed says, the party is not taken for granted.
Democracy is making sure that the political space is allowed for everybody to operate and allow Nigerians to choose. After all, we are all going through the democratic processes by having convention. But I must thank the ruling administration for giving us the venue without any hiccups.
The venue subcommittee, which had Senate Minority Whip Philip Aduda as deputy chairman, promised to deliver with every sense of responsibility a credible and acceptable national convention. Meanwhile, the PDP North Central Stakeholders Meeting, continuation of finding consensus candidate for the national chairmanship of the party, has adopted former President of the Senate, Dr. Yoche Ayu, as his consensus chairmanship candidate.
Amongst 5 people who were contesting the leadership of our party in the North Central Zone, unanimously agreed to sponsor Dr. Yoche Ayu, former Senate President, to be the national chairman of our party from the North Central Zone.
Dr. Ayu is to be presented to the northern stakeholders of the party. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Let's take our first break now. When we return, Nigeria police prepare for Anambra election. Plus, bidding bronzers to make their way back home as delegation visits Nigeria. Stay with us.
Everybody wants love. Everybody wants to glow. Nobody wants party love. Everybody wants joy. Who don't like it better? And if you wanna talk to mommy, if you wanna talk your credit, if you wanna run on time, if you want plenty data, if you wanna go do one more 7, he says 7. Let me hear you say this super number. 7. Boy, is it like they no get you wahala? 7. When you use the code, it be like you in a lotto. 7. Let me hear you say this super number.
The whole sensational world of love, now accessible through one code, *777#.
The federal government, through NPHCDA, commenced Phase 2 vaccination of all persons 18 years and above with safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines approved by WHO and certified by NAFDAC. Special arrangement has been made for staff, their dependents and retirees of ministries, departments and agencies of government, private corporate organizations and non-governmental organizations. To benefit from this special arrangement, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng/corporate vaccination/ to obtain, fill and submit the Google form. NPHCDA will contact you within 48 hours. Protect yourself, your family and your workplace against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are free, safe and effective. For further inquiries, call 0700-220-1122 or send a mail to covid19.vaccination@nphcda.gov.ng. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
Babe? Hey!
Hi.
It's hard to live when you are all alone.
Hi. So, my card isn't working. Hello?
All I hear with the
Good morning. I'm pretty sorry I'm late. Where are you guys going? Hello? Can anybody hear me? Can you see me?
Get an Airtel Home Broadband and enjoy life as it should be.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Pension Transitional Arrangements Directorate (PTARD) has launched the I Am Alive Confirmation Platform, an online application to confirm pensioners on its monthly pension payroll are alive and should continue to receive their pension. This involves the use of a web-based software solution developed to ascertain the aliveness status of PTARD-verified pensioners at whatever location they reside, without the need to gather for any field verification or visit any PTARD office. This is in line with the Directorate's policy of pensioner-friendly services focused on empathy and dignity for all its pensioners. Given the novelty of this I Am Alive confirmation initiative, the Directorate has resolved to deploy the technology in a pilot phase comprising 50,000 pensioners cut across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country who have been selected based on a predetermined set criteria. This pilot phase is scheduled to commence from October 14, 2021. Pensioners who are part of this pilot phase have been notified through SMS. Other pensioners will be duly notified after the completion of the pilot phase. Management Announcer.
I am more than just an idea. I am alive, connected. I am part of an ecosystem, creating connections within an interactive and sustainable city. I am intentional about excellence, integrity, and efficiency. I am invested in building a sustainable future. I am committed to strategic partnerships and collaborations. I can be tough, can be tender. I take pride in delivering high standards. While there may be others, I am in a league of my own. I am more than just an idea. I am Bilal. Who are you?
I dey look for pension fund administrator. Way soft, make sense, way care for me. Shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. No. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try of course. Profitable investment. Everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700 to 704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Welcome back. Empowering the Nigerian youth academically, professionally, and morally has been identified as one of the ways to checkmate the spate of insecurity in the country. Speakers at a public lecture in Lagos stated this while analyzing the factors responsible for youth involvement in the breakdown of law and order. Adiola Kamiakere has the report.
Championing the cause of youths in the country through the public lecture aligns with an objective to support government in building a viable economy.
Our expectation of our country is that which is strong, viable, united, just, equitable, fair, and prosperous.
The 2020 National Bureau of Statistics indicated that youths make up to 60% of Nigeria's population, and speakers emphasized the urgency of empowering young Nigerians.
It's a role that transcends the borders of intercessory prayers to make it empirical inputs to national conversations.
We are celebrating China today, the engine of development. Celebrating Indonesia, India, everyone. Investing in MSMEs will put Nigeria where these nations are. Give them 21st century education, not theoretical education.
Governors of Lagos and Ekiti State who were represented and the royal father of the day told the youth to channel their energies into positivity for the common good of a society.
This Nigeria is a work in progress.
And we have put in place policies, programs, and initiatives geared towards enhancing the capacities of our youth.
Irrespective of age, gender, religious affiliation, socioeconomic status, and this one language is insecurity. And if all of us understand this language, we must all contribute to solve it. Nigeria's art,
In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
A meeting of Mobile Police Force Squadron commanders has been convened by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, to brainstorm on the security action plan for the forthcoming Anambra governorship election and to address other security challenges affecting the nation. Francis Form reports.
It is the maiden engagement between the Inspector General of Police and squadron commanders of Mobile Police Force.
The decision to summon this meeting was
Discussions at this meeting centers around providing security for the conduct of free, fair, and credible governorship poll in Anambra State and the expectations of Nigerians with regards to the conduct of security personnel during the election.
Most of your operatives will be deployed to deter subversive elements that are planning to threaten the process, while others will be deployed to secure personnel and materials of the independent National Electoral Commission, as well as other critical national infrastructure.
The IGP was emphatic in his directive to the commanders to demonstrate high level of professionalism and remain apolitical during the exercise.
While being ruthless with violent elements and ill-guided political talks that may wish to test our common will to deliver a transparent and credible electoral outcome. I am confident that, like other operations in which you have excelled, you will not let the Nigerian police and indeed the nation down in this critical national assignment.
Meanwhile, the IGP has reassured the commanders that the mobile police force under his leadership will be reorganized and equipped for the purpose of situating it within its original concept. Francis from NTA News.
And in Katsina, the Katsina Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 84 jerry cans of petroleum motor spirits as petrol suspected to be siphoned into the forest for bandits. Acting Controller of the command, Al-Hawada Chedi, disclosed this during the Customs Community Consultative Forum to enlighten border communities on the statutory responsibility of customs in nation building as well as protection of lives and property. Shehu Adamu reports.
The Customs Community Consultative Forum is an avenue where stakeholders meet to exchange ideas with a view to generating inputs for better customs service delivery in Katsina.
Customs is reactivating customs community relationships committees, so we hope we are seeing light at the end of the channel.
Advise the Trade Association of Katsina State here to always liaise with the PRO and the customs service there in Katsina to be able to know what are the laws and procedures governing importation.
You cannot trust unless you understand what this guy is supposed to do and what you are supposed to do.
The acting controller Al-Hawada Chedi informed the stakeholders that the command is synergizing with other security agencies to maintain law and order, especially on the current enforcement of security containment order in the fight against banditry.
You see an officer deciding his lawful duty, you don't have anything. It's not your business. You are not a smuggler. You didn't bring anything. Just for that, you start stoning custom. On behalf of those who don't even know them, you don't even know their intention, you don't even know what they're even having inside the vehicles. Whether they're having arms or ammunition, whether they're having drugs, you don't know.
He explained that the fuel intercepted was siphoned into the forest on motorcycle and the smugglers took to their heels on citing custom operatives. Special advisor to Katsina State Governor on Security Ibrahim Ahmed Katsina assured the command of continued synergy in the fight against all forms of insecurity in the state.
Public enlightenment is key to carrying people along, because when you educate people, they can give you more cooperation.
Meanwhile, the Katsina Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has seized contraband with duty paid value of over 50 million naira between the 5th of September and 8th of October 2021. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
In another development, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the level of negotiations between Nigeria and Germany over the return of stolen Benin bronzes is encouraging. The minister stated this when he granted audience to a German delegation in Abuja. Anthony Forson has the details.
The German delegation arrived in Nigeria in continuation of the negotiation between the two countries. During this visit, the delegation signed a memorandum of understanding on museum cooperation, affirming the process leading to the return of the Benin bronzes by the second quarter of next year. It is in the light of this that the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed noted that the German government has kept to its words.
Because you can see that the entire MOU is about confidence building between the parties. On one hand, it has reassured all of us that the talks are on track and that everything we agreed upon in Germany, nobody is reneging.
The minister expressed optimism that the relationship between the two countries will be further strengthened by this understanding.
Culture today has become one of the most effective tools of soft diplomacy.
We are considering that cultural policy can contribute to heal
bonds and to establish a new relationship between Nigeria and Germany.
After an initial visit by the German delegation to Nigeria in May and a visit by the Nigerian delegation to Berlin in July, the current visit to Nigeria and the MOU that has been signed stipulates that the return of the Benin bronzes will be embedded in a broad collaboration in the areas of archaeology, museum facilities, and museum cooperation. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The focus of Center for Black and African Arts and Civilizations Cultural Festival this year is to sustain the promotion of public interest and depict how cultural heritage can become a means of empowerment. Larry Belay was at the two-day festival held in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
First was the appreciation of the unique African culture in music, dance, and drama.
Think out of the box. Think of how to make money rather than from crude oil or from petroleum. From culture and tourism.
There are a way or tools for us to be able to communicate effectively.
That the government has done a lot in, making compulsory in schools the language of the area, where schools are situated.
Then there's the public lecture, which seeks to examine the conscious effort on African hairstyles, African dress culture, and the fashion in contemporary times.
Traditional hairstyles, they were created mostly for enhancing the beauty of women.
Nigeria is widely demanded all over the world. We can't even meet the demand.
Showcasing the peculiarities and ingenuity of the hairstyles, fashion, and attires rooted in African culture and how these heritages can become a source of economic empowerment and cultural diplomacy is the ultimate objective.
The major thing we can take away from this cultural festival is that celebrating African culture is not a task. It's a fact that is a responsibility. And a responsibility, if perfected, can put money into the coffers of government and individuals in the area of tourism. From Ibadan, Larry Belay, NTA News.
Sure, Larry, Africa is beautiful and heritage is everything, I must say. Rainstorm Tuesday evening in Benin Metropolis, Edo State has left many residents confused and in pain as they count their losses. Good luck. And INA reports that one of the areas that is worst hit is the NTA Benin Zonal Network Center along the West Circular Road, also known as TV Road.
Residents say the incident is first of its kind in a long while.
Please help me out. I don't have 1 naira.
This light now we are seeing now, we don't know where we are expecting it. To me, I don't know if they can rectify it between now till next year because the damage here is too much because there are many poles that are fell on the road.
The rain, which lasted about 25 minutes, came with a storm and led to the collapse of parts of the perimeter fence of the NTA. The main building wasn't spared as a good portion of the building is now roofless and offices storing sensitive and vital documents and equipment were flooded. The building housing the main generator is also damaged. The zonal director, Pauline Igbano, has undertaken an assessment tour of the damaged facilities.
Our only consolation is that there was no loss of life, no harm was done to any of our staff, because you can never equate property with human life. You can see this is an office, and the person that was sitting there just got up a few minutes before that thunder strike. And it's not just the roof that is affected. 50% of the fence surrounding these premises has fallen. Our equipment, our office furniture, they are damaged. As I'm talking to you now, I'm standing on water because the place is flooded. So we are still trying to assess the level of damage.
It was a similar story at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin City.
Practically all building in the compound has been affected, particularly the higher buildings. Trees have been uprooted, walkways have been damaged, the administrative blocks, the outpatient department building, the School of Nursing, Clinical Services building,
the crèche that's just behind us here.
Benin City is in the rain belt, where storms occur now and again. In Benin, good luck in Aini. NTA News.
Very unfortunate. We'll go for another break now. In the next segment, we trail Nigeria's efforts to make her cities join the world smart urbanization plus. A trip with our aviation correspondent who says it is a case of breeze in and take off these days at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. We'll be right back.
I realized very young that I was different. My parents tried to enroll me in school.
And the headmaster said, I don't want a child that will come and scare away other children. Madam, take your child home. I wept like I had never wept that day. NTN came in at a point when I was at my lowest. I got a call.
And it turned the story around.
They had found a hospital in South Africa. They had found a doctor. Till date, Great has undergone 17 surgeries. And MTN has not turned their back on Great since then.
Now that I'm graduating, I feel very excited. I'm ready for the challenges life has to push towards me.
You call someone great, and then you expect that he has to go through something so that that name will be real.
I'm bold, I'm confident, you can also do it.
Each journey has its purpose and tells a story. We are here to redefine yours. At Ibom Air, we are poised to bring game-changing, innovative services to you because our people are passionate, our partners are committed, and our energy is high. Fly Ibom Air to experience schedule reliability, on-time departures, and excellent services. Ibom Air, a new experience.
Enjoy faster connectivity and amazing discounts in the Airtel HBB seasonal offer. Get a MiFi for 9,999 Naira plus up to 55 gigabyte data, or a router for 19,999 Naira plus up to 160 gigabyte data. Offer valid while stock lasts. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The National Industrial Court, in a landmark judgment on the 13th of October 2020, affirmed Alhaji Dr. Musa Muhammad Maitakubiwan as the Executive National President of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, RITIAN. In 365 days, he resolved a lingering 42-year-old leadership crisis in RITIAN, affiliated RITIAN to TUC, introduced TAIS, and activated RITIAN's membership of International Association of Public Transport. Above all, he acquired an ultra-modern national secretariat in the heart of Abuja. Maitakubiwan has proven his mettle as a visionary leader, and RITIAN is now united like never before. Mr. President, we believe in your leadership and further pledge our support. We wish you more successes ahead. Congratulations, sir. Powered by RITIAN National Executive Council. Abroad, Super!
Chat, call, read, play, and listen to music. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN. Download Ayoba now.
Oh my God, which medication are you giving this baby?
Medication? I have given him all sorts.
Have you given him Bona Babe?
Bona Babe?
Yes, Bona Babe.
Naturally, babies cannot speak. All they
do is cry whenever they're sick. And you know, a happy baby makes a happy mother. When your baby is going through aches, fever, or pains, allergic cough, including discomfort associated with teething pains, treat your baby with Bonababe syrup. Bonababe is manufactured by Bond Chemical Industries Limited, makers of Bond paracetamol. Bonababe syrup contains paracetamol and chlorpheniramine, available in pharmacies near you. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please consult your doctor.
I use it for you when you are a baby.
Thank you, Grandma.
Dear customer, link your Airtel number to your national identification number today. Here are easy ways you can do it. Dial *121*1# on your Airtel line and follow the prompts on the screen. Type in your 11-digit government-approved NIN number. You will receive a confirmation message to confirm your entry. You can also visit www.airtel.com.ng/NIN to link your phone number to your NIN. If you do not know your NIN, simply dial *346# to get it. No stress, no wahala.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks for staying. World Bank calls for a comprehensive approach to address rising debt in low-income countries as investors gain 80.3 billion naira to maintain positive posture in the stock market. Musa Abakar has details on business news. So Musa, over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. World Bank Group says a comprehensive approach, swifter restructuring, as well as transparency is needed to address rising debt amongst developing countries. The group's president, David Malpass, stated this virtually at the opening press conference of the ongoing annual World Bank and International Monetary Fund meetings in Washington, D.C.
New systems to push that along because so many countries are in external debt distress or at high risk of it. We need a comprehensive approach, including debt reductions. Core to making progress on that is improving the private sector capabilities of countries, working with governments to identify the strengthening that could be done that brings in new investment. And a chunk of that new investment.
The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria is engaging development partners and the organized private sector across Africa with a view to consolidating on a vibrant MSME sector to aid the economic recovery process. The World Bank, Africa Development Bank, and partners from Rwanda and the University of Kuala Lumpur are expected to provide insights to improving the Nigerian business environment.
Engineering, fabrication, agriculture, mining, general commerce, automobile, hospitality, and recreation.
And out of stocks, the equities market gained midweek thanks to the financial services sector. The all-share index gained 0.38%, driving it to 41,051.19 points. 445 million shares worth 4.4 billion naira exchanged hands in 4,704 deals. Equity capitalization closed at 21.3 trillion naira. FBN Holdings, Universal Insurance, and Eco Bank top activities. That concludes business news. It's back to you, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Musa. Now let's head to Maiduguri. As part of continued efforts to further boost small and medium-scale enterprises and also create job opportunities for the teeming youths, Borno State government has disbursed soft loans to 4,250 beneficiaries through Borno Renaissance and Microfinance Bank. The occasion also witnessed inauguration of Alpha Mechanic Village, constructed by the state government along Mulai Road in Maiduguri, the state capital. Mohammed Godi reports.
Beneficiaries of the 350,115,000 naira disbursed by the state government include automobile technicians who received 68,700,000 naira, tricycles and generators technicians presented with 56,050,000 naira, as well as post office traders and hand workers having 75,400,000 naira, and the Babanlai electronic sellers who received 150 million naira. Beneficiaries of the loan disbursed were elated by the loan scheme, which they say will enhance their trades and businesses. Governor Zulum also inaugurated the Alpha Mechanic Village, which was designed to create conducive environment for the auto mechanics and other related trades, comprising shops and other facilities.
This occasion signifies a historic turning point in our quest to develop the entire state that it was hit by the more than a decade-long insurgency.
Governor Zulum, who expressed concern of his administration over the unemployment rate in the state, highlighted similar disbursement done across the state and further stressed commitment to do more to reduce poverty to the barest minimum. Commissioner for Higher Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Babagana Mustapha Malimbe said, construction of the Alpha Mechanic Village is part of the human capacity development geared towards increasing employment opportunities and decent work, particularly for youth, by stimulating a vibrant economic sector. Executive Secretary, Borno Geographic Information Service, Engineer Adam Bababe, noted that the design and development of the Mechanic Village, which is a pilot project, was done according to global best practices, together with relevant stakeholders, including beneficiaries. Managing Director, Borno Microfinance Bank, Dr. Ibrahim Bello said, over 2.5 billion naira has been disbursed to SMEs across the state in the last 2 years. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Food is the next important thing for man after oxygen. But unlike oxygen that is available naturally, getting food requires labor in cultivation, processing, or purchases. Now, the federal government says it is out to make food available, accessible, and affordable for the people. Musa Baba Aliu has the details.
To get what to eat, many prefer to buy raw produce and cook, while others prefer to get what to eat from food vendors and restaurants. Nevertheless, there are some people that don't have access to any of the three options. Investigations by World Food Programme Survey of 2021 show that there are estimated 135 million people like that around the world. Nigeria is among the 55 countries whose food accessibility and affordability were analyzed by the United Nations Agency. The findings show that the Nigeria food production and supply is on the increase, apart from the high cost of the produce that was attributed to COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Agriculture at the flag off of Farmers' Day in Kefi, Nasarawa State, announced that the country recorded a boost in the production of her major staples, especially maize and rice.
Nigeria is now Africa's largest producer of rice, with a production level of 9 million metric tons. The country is the largest producer of cassava and yam production, with 59.4 million tons and 47.9 in the world.
I must commend the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration towards transforming the agricultural sector for socio-economic development.
As chairman of the Senate Standing Committee on Agriculture, I can confirm that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has carved a niche for itself as a supporting pillar in the President's policies and programs towards agricultural development and food security.
Our actions are our future. Better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life is the theme of this year's World Food Day. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The global community has taken stand in pursuing the establishment of a zero-emission world. It's on this premise that Abdullahi Mohammed examines Nigeria's effort in smart urbanization.
It was a stroll down a slum deprived of Abdullahi, a father of four whose makeshift home provides all the comfort of his habitation needs. It is estimated that about 1.8 billion people across the world live in slums like this one. But each one of them has high aspirations of moving to the other part of the world. This side of the world is alive on the fast lane. The cars, beautiful homes, appliances, and the manufacturing giants, all driven by substances
that emits carbon, pushing global climate to the edge. But the world is responding swiftly to the Paris Agreement and related calls to take action towards a zero carbon emission world. The World Cities Inhabited Day, driven by the theme Accelerating Urban Action for a Carbon-Free World, takes a stand to reverse emissions from cities, which account for the consumption of 75% of global energy, with 70% greenhouse gas emission.
The future of our planet depends on our national, regional and local governments and organizations, communities, academic, institutions, the private sector, and all relevant stakeholders working together to create sustainable carbon-neutral, inclusive cities and towns.
When the emission levels from cities across the world are reduced through smart urbanization, people like Abdullahi will not only join the league of owners of beautiful homes, but homes that emit zero carbon. That's why the leaders of tomorrow urge for partnerships. Partnerships that could be the key to action. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
Sure, Abdullahi. And with effect from 1st December 2021, federal government employees shall be required to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination or present a negative COVID-19 PCR test result done within 72 hours to gain access to their offices. Chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, stated this at Wednesday's national briefing in Abuja. Mitarik Beng reports.
From December 1st this year, this green-colored COVID-19 vaccination certificate will be like a means of identification that must be tendered by federal government workers to gain entrance to offices. Apparently, the next 6 weeks represent a period of grace for those not yet vaccinated. Rising from an emergency meeting, the Presidential Steering Committee says the compulsory vaccination mandate, which applies to all locations in Nigeria and missions abroad, has become necessary to contain the spread of COVID-19 and safeguard public health.
For us to create a safe working environment, we believe strongly that we need to begin to in place measures and appropriate service-wide advisory circular will be issued to guide the process. Now that we have sufficient vaccines available, I urge all Nigerians to approach the health facilities and get themselves vaccinated and not be bogged down by very misinformed theories and conspiracies that would deny our people the benefit that vaccines would avail them.
While acknowledging a reduction of COVID-19 infection rates in the country, the PSC chairman urges state governments to escalate vigilance and enforcement of COVID-19 protocols in the build-up to end-of-year activities. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Let's take another break. Please stay.
Up in the morning before you start your day. Breakfast time is Kellogg's time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day. Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
We always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals.
Is available in 90 naira only, with 10% extra inside.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and
entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel, or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment, or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Take this, Mom. You will need it.
My dog is craving something. I wonder what it is. Twisco. That's my favorite.
Twisco chocolate drink powder is a unique blend of cocoa, milk, and malt fortified with Enofort, a special blend of vitamins and minerals that helps give kids the vitality they need for an action-packed day.
Mommy, let me follow Bob.
Twisco, power your dream.
This na the story of Pekin, wey rise to the max. Rain or shine, it not settle for less. Na the story of small boy we get big talent. Home and away. Wait oh, it be like say na the story of one man wey fall, but we bounce back in style.
Osimhen, wetin dey motivate you?
I want day big, special and great.
Watching us live from Big Brother House Studio.
Joy for Osimhen, his teammates are chuffed for him as well.
Make we dey enjoy Max Entertainment together.
Sports or movies, telenovela or cartoon, music or reality TV. With just 6,900 naira, you fit get your GoTV decoder plus 1 month Max subscription. Make you dey enjoy over 75 channels with day for GoTV Max. Make you and your special ones they enjoy better things on Max levels. GoTV, love it.
Manchester City return from the international break with a tricky tie against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Will they get their desired victory? Find out this Saturday when Manchester City take on Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Great to have you back. To observe prayers and recite the Holy Quran are sacred obligations of the Muslim, nothing new, and therefore not a news. However, when these acts of Islam thrive in an institution owned by the church, it re-echoes that cherished promise of one nation, one destiny. Ramat Abdullahi in Kano tells us that these happenings are still not new, yet newsworthy.
A spiritual ambience calling Muslim to one of their sacred obligations, the daily prayer. For over 20 years, this mosque has been serving the spiritual purpose of the Muslims here. This is, however, not the news. The news is this mosque is situated in an institution that belongs to a church. Kano is indeed a land of great examples of beauty and strength of diversity. This is St. Luke's Girls Boarding School, owned and operated by the Catholic Diocese in Kano since 1951, when the church conceived the vision of promoting education of girls in tune with the dynamics of changing times. The school has over the years opened its gates to the students of other faiths, the Muslim community especially, who have embraced the school in peaceful educational pursuit. Beyond the daily prayers in the mosque, the Muslim girls in this church-owned school pursue deep Islamic knowledge. St. Luke is an ideal place for learning and peaceful coexistence amidst multicultural diversities.
Like every year, by the time a final year student SS3 is finishing her SSCE and her NECO exams, at the same time she is finishing the Quran.
Asking God to give you the opportunity to serve God in a way that you can serve God perfectly.
Indeed, while other segments of Nigeria preach peace, the multi-plural community of St. Luke Girls Secondary School live that peace. In Kano, Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Amazing indeed. Oh, one nation, one destiny. Stay with us for the home as we will return with our usual sports for sports.
Eyes all Nigerians, let's applaud the courage of Flight Lieutenant Abayomi Dairo, aka the Aggressor, for his skillful and dogged escape from the bloodthirsty bandits in the forest of Zamfara State. 3 hearty cheers also to all military and security personnel who are tirelessly protecting fellow Nigerians from insurgency and banditry while maintaining peace and order. Nigerians are proud of Abayomi Dairo and all our gallant men and women in uniform for sacrificing so much to keep us safe. We admire your courage and we say thank you. God bless the armed forces. God bless Nigeria. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Manchester City return from the international break with a tricky tie against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Will they get their desired victory? Find out this Saturday when Manchester City take on Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Ministry of Youth and Sports Development clears the air on allegation of embezzlement as Federation's boards map out blueprints. Oche Ndebede has the report.
The next 4 years will mark another milestone in Nigeria's sports sector. These faces and brains have been trusted with the responsibility of at least maintaining the standard or setting new height from grassroots to international level, a target they are aware of.
I'm going to make sure Nigerians take a chunk of this. Golf is a special game that you can play from beginning to the end of your life.
A true sport, drugs will easily fade away. By the time you start encouraging these children, you give them stipends, you allow them to be self-sustaining. Before you realize it, things go for better.
Ministry of Youth and Sport Development has laid down the markers, charging newly inaugurated board members of National Sport Federation to align with its mandate.
This future of the various sports, again, is now in your hands. The career of our young athletes under your federations is now in your hands. And history will judge you after 4 years.
White Territory Sport Federation has since hit the ground running by holding inaugural board meetings to set their agenda over the next 4 years. The narrative is not the same with basketball and badminton federations.
We are inviting them to a dialogue to ensure that this matter is resolved in order to ensure that we move the sport a step further and to ensure that we succeed.
Lately, delegates to the Extraordinary Congress of the Nigerian Basketball Federation agreed on October 30th for an elective congress in Benin City. But in another twist, the ministry has been dragged into murky waters as the male and female basketball players allege non-payment of their allowances for over 8 months. This has prompted a clear-the-air talk with an assurance of disbursement as the money, the ministry said, is intact.
Concerted efforts are on ground to ensure that whatever is outstanding is settled. I want to use this opportunity to assure you that that money is safe because it is presently domiciled with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
The ministry and you have agencies that you can confirm these things from. It's always better to take whatever you see on social media with a pinch of salt.
The questions on the mind of so many Nigerians is, how is this problem going to be solved? But with a date now set for the federation election, who becomes the president is also the question being asked. In Abuja, Oche Ndebede, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Oche. And with Sports Update, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Before we go, here's a reminder to be a star, connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umaruba. Please stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your night.